Thousands of years before our time, the Dark Khan Elra won the War of Light, which lasted thousands of years. When Turek, the Khan of Light, lost his life in this war, his son Eridu took his place. Eridu's mission was to prevent the Dark Khan from taking over the galaxy. The Dark Khan had a very powerful weapon called the Black Ray. This weapon could even destroy a planet. Eridu became captain of the ship Uljan, protected by a shield of light. Now he had a difficult task. To protect the planets of the galaxy from the Dark Khan. He could only take a few people with him. Bohin and Mohan, the guardians of light, Soklap, the owner of the secret cloak, Tama the herbalist, and RB-19. They were now planet hunters. Their mission was to shield the planets with a shield of light and protect them from the Dark Khan. When Captain Eridu stepped out of his room and into the corridor, an object caught his eye. At this moment RB-19 called out to him, "Captain, may the light be with you." Without even answering RB-19, the captain took a few steps and came to the window. The object that caught his eye could be seen even better from here. The crimson object was rapidly approaching the ship. It was also gigantic in size. RB-19 was a robot that could think for itself. It could analyze and comment on people's thoughts. That's why it immediately started talking. "Captain, I can tell from your body movements that something is wrong." This time the captain responded, "Hurry, RB-19. Send the emergency code to everyone. Red alert." RB-19 quickly uploaded the emergency code to its receivers. Suddenly red lights came on everywhere. Red lights were flashing under the corridor and on the walls. The ship, the Uljan, had many systems in place for emergencies. The systems were activated as soon as the code was heard. Of course, the most important of these systems was the light shield. Only the captain could operate this shield. So the captain quickly ran into the command cabin. As soon as he entered, he saw RB-19. RB-19 had arrived before the captain and attached itself to the first officer's quarters. It had access to every system on the ship. Because it was a very advanced version, it could use every ship in the galaxy. Seeing that RB-19 was connected to the systems, the captain immediately took his seat. Just then Tama walked in. She hadn't even had time to tidy her red hair. She sat in her seat, trying to push her hair out of her eyes with her hand. Besides being a good herbalist, he was also a good helmsman. As Tama was taking his seat, suddenly a voice was heard. "Captain, the guards are at their posts. We await your orders." The captain responded immediately. "Mohan, Bohin, activate the destroyers. We have a very large object coming our way." "Roger that, Captain." Hearing the order, Mohan sprang into action, putting on his steel armor. Then Bohin put on his armor and came to the destroyers. Both were the most powerful guards in the galaxy. Turek, the Khan of Light, had personally handed them their light protectors. He gave Mohan a spear of light and Bohin a bow of light. They were guards trained to stop the Dark Khan. The captain looked at the door as the guards carried out the order. There was someone who had not yet come into the command cabin. It was Soklap. He would have been there before anyone else. The captain realized that something was strange, so he immediately called out to RB-19. "RB-19, where is Soklap?" Meanwhile, a voice echoed through the command cabin. "Soklap in position, Captain, awaiting your orders." Soklap was a geography expert. He knew everything from the deepest reaches of space to the most hidden planets. Of course, he was rewarded for this knowledge by the Khan of Light. Turek, the Khan of Light, who gave him the Cloak of Light, knew that Soklap would protect his son in the most difficult moment. Hearing Soklap's voice, the captain immediately turned toward his place. But no one was in sight. Once the voice was heard once more, it would become clear what was going on. "Captain, I arrived at my post early. I noticed an object on the screen. I was about to start examining the object when I realized that the wavelength of my cloak was distorted. The wavelength suddenly dropped. I can't become visible, and I can't remove the cloak. I think the approaching object is emitting some kind of vibration. This vibration creates a strong magnetic pulse. If the object doesn't move away, the ship systems could fail. Soclap was right. Already many systems were starting to malfunction. The ship seemed to be rocking back and forth in the vacuum of space. All the while, the captain was paying attention. He was looking at the screen with the program analyzing the object. RB-19 was the first to notice this situation. "Captain, we need your orders. What should we do?" The captain continued to look at the screen. Meanwhile, Thomas spoke. Captain, I'm getting a proximity alarm. I can't steer automatically. I'll try manual." The captain took his eyes off the screen and turned to Tama. "Tama, disable the automatic drive. Soon none of the systems will work. Soclap, give me the distance to the object." "Roger, Captain. Checking, the object is 3 light hours away from us. And it's getting closer and closer. If we don't activate the light shield, it will be too late." The captain suddenly went silent. Both Tama and Soclap were wondering what he was going to say. Just then Bohan's voice was heard. "Captain, we have a big problem. The destroyers are offline. I repeat, the destroyers are offline." The captain heard what was said. He looked at the screen for a while longer and then shouted, "Jump! Prepare to jump!" Tama couldn't believe what the captain said. How could they jump in such a situation? It had happened to them before. Each time they would activate the light shield and destroy the object with the destroyers. So he immediately called out to the captain. "Captain, isn't it too early to jump? We need to activate the light shield." "It's too late, Tama." Everyone was surprised to hear the captain speak. They all wanted to understand what was going on. When the captain realized the crew's confusion, he spoke again. "It is too late. This object is made of the same material as the Black Ray. And this substance is even more advanced. It creates an electromagnetic pulse. That's why we can't activate the light shield. It would take too much gold. And there's not enough gold on board." Thomas studied the information on the screen and understood what the captain meant. So he spoke immediately. "Captain, according to the information, we need to get away from here as soon as possible. Do you agree with me?" Before the captain could answer, Soclap interjected. "Captain, we need the time gate to get away from here." The captain looked at both Tama and Soclap. Then he began to speak. "Prepare to open the time gate. Guards, activate the beacons." As soon as Mohan heard the captain, he suddenly shouted at Bohan, "Get ready! We must press the button at the same time as my signal." Bohan rushed over to the beacons. Now all they had to do was press the buttons. As soon as the buttons were pressed, the beams of light would start emitting beams into space. The switch in the captain's hand would turn on the main engine and release energy. Of course, in a short time, the energy would condense and the time gate would open. For thousands of years, the time gate could be opened by Inns of Light. Since the new Inn of Light was Eridu, this task now fell to him. Once the time gate opened, it took only 2 light seconds to travel to the desired destination. As Bohan and Mohan moved to press the button, they heard a strange warning. They did not understand what it was, so they immediately reported it to the captain. "Captain, we can't activate the beacons. All systems are locked down. I repeat, all systems are locked down." The captain heard what happened. This is what he expected. The red object was designed to destroy all systems and take over the ship. It was soon clear what was happening when a voice was heard. It was a Dark Army general speaking. "On board, we know who you are. There is nowhere to run now. We have taken over all your systems. Surrender now, or we will destroy the ship. No one can escape from the Dark Khan. The galaxy is in our darkness. My final warning, you have 30 light seconds." The captain and the others had heard the general. They were wondering what to do when suddenly the voice of RB-19 was heard. Captain, we have only one option. We will resort to the oldest method to open the time gate. Tama was very surprised. The old way? We need light beams to operate the time gate. Otherwise, how can we open the door without light? This is very old knowledge. Turek, the Khan of Light, uploaded this information into my system long ago. Now I give you the plasma image. The captain and the others were wondering what was going to happen. Suddenly RB-19 stepped into the center and a beam of light shot from its eyes. At that very moment, Turek appeared with the plasma image. Of course, when Eridu saw him, he suddenly stood up. The plasma image suddenly moved and everyone started listening to it. If you are listening to me, we have lost the Millennium War. It is now up to the new Khan to open the gate of time. Whatever happens, do not give up hope. Darkness will never rule the galaxy. Light always wins. If your problem is to open the time gate, you must use the oldest method. You just need to say some words in the letters of the first language. Of course, these words will only be valid if spoken by the Khan of Light. I give the words to the screen. May the light be with you. The captain paused for a moment as he saw his father. He remembered the days he had spent with his father many years ago. Now his father was no more. And the future of the galaxy depended on him. So he came to his senses and called out to the crew. Crew of Uljan, get ready. We must start the engine as soon as we say the words. Guards, you will have to start the engine manually. Tama, once the words are finished, it's up to you to start the engine. Soclap, this is the first time we've made a time jump like this. So we don't know where we're going. As soon as the systems are up and running, get us somewhere safe. Everybody ready? The crew responded in unison. Ready, Captain. The guards rushed to the main engine to start the manual engine while Tama made the final adjustments. Meanwhile, Soclap was waiting for the systems to arrive. As soon as the jump was made, the effect of the red object would disappear. At that moment, there would be little time to get to the right place. Captain Eridu looked at the old language on the screen and began to speak. Uvion at ATAUCETILIS. When the captain finished speaking, he suddenly shouted to the guards. Bohan! Mohan! Now! Now! The guards quickly started to turn the cover to start the engine. As the cover turned, suddenly the first part of the engine made a noise. Mohan shouted as soon as he heard the sound. Captain! The engine started. Hearing Mohan, Tama immediately flipped the switch in front of him. As soon as the button was turned, suddenly Soclap shouted, Captain! You must say the last words. The captain immediately said the last words. On! Fly! As soon as the captain said the words, the vacuum of space suddenly flashed. No one understood what was happening. Meanwhile, Tama cried out. The countdown has begun. The red object has locked onto the ship to destroy us. Everyone started looking at the numbers on the screen. As the numbers went backwards, the light in space combined with the energy emitted by the engine. Colorful colored lights appeared in space. The captain and the others were looking at space and the screen with excitement. Tama shouted for the last time. Last 5, 4, 3. Before I could say 2, there was a plasma in space. The black space seemed to glow brightly. Suddenly there was a void in the plasma and the captain shouted. Now Tama now. Tama pushed the rudder forward and the ship suddenly entered the light. Now the systems were working. When the time gate opened, the effect of the red object disappeared. The captain shouted to Soclap as soon as he entered the door. Soclap! Soclap! Now! Now! Captain, I can't control it. We're going supraplasma. I can't control it anymore. The captain was about to answer him when suddenly the ship went to supraplasma speed. From that moment on, no one could even move. They had to stay where they were until the ship stopped. The crew stood still as the Uljan sped off. Even RB-19 stayed where it was. But where would this journey end? Where would the Uljan stop?